Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 41 with Ram Ananda. Most recent accomplishments 2012, World Champion Blue Belt, 2013, Pan Am Gold, and also bronze at the Worlds as purple. And then just recently, of course, gold medalist at the 2014 Worlds, brown belt light feather.
Yo. I also just want to quickly thank our sponsor, Pohada Gear. You can check them out at pohadagear.com, PORRADGAR.com. They sell, I think they have like three shirts, a few hoodies, a beanie, a few other things that are going to be coming out. They're growing right now, but if you check out their website, use the promo code JTGT, you get 20% off. Also want to thank VHTS, very hard to submit. You can check them out at veryhardtosubmit.com. Same promo code, 20% off their D's, Fats. I believe they have beanies as well. Yeah, check them out.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So Ram, just really quick, could you give us a quick introduction of how you got into jiu-jitsu? The schools that maybe you started at, and take us from there.
When I was going to San Francisco State in about 2009, I used to do judo, and I did an open mat. And what happened was it was just like a jiu-jitsu open mat. There were like maybe 3 people there, and this one little rotund fat guy is probably like 5'4". He just mopped the floor with me, and eventually I moved to Portland, I think January 2009, and I just started at Portland State. They had some kind of, extended class, and I did just the random jiu-jitsu class then. And it was through Impact Jiu-Jitsu. It's a really big jiu-jitsu club out in Portland. But they're like really friendly there, and jiu-jitsu is really cool that way. How everyone's like really friendly. But yeah, that's pretty much how I got into jiu-jitsu.
So Ram, how did you end up getting to Cabrinas?
I was going to HBJJ, which is Hollywood Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in let's see, where was it? Well, it's in like West Hollywood. And anyway, what happened was Cabrinas opened up about. Because I was there, I stayed there for about 6 months, and then I made the transition over. I had a friend who kept telling me to go over there, and one time I just sat in a class and just watched, and I saw Cabrina doing technique, and I was on like I was on the cusp. I was like, maybe I'll just stay at this place, maybe I'll just go to Cabrina's. But I actually saw Cabrina teaching the technique, and it was like it was something he always does, or Sergio Moraes does it as well. He does this fake takedown. It's like a fake takedown to a single leg, and the way Cabrina taught it was just he does things with such like graceful agility that I actually knew I had to go to Cabrinas that day. So I signed up right after 2010 Worlds.
Wow. And from there, so just talking about Cabrina, well, Rami and I were there last year actually in October during Old Man Worlds, just to visit, because I've never been there. I thought I'd like to check it out. And well, one thing about that. And I don't know, we popped in midday or something like that, and man, it was just loaded with there's nobody lower than a purple belt there. A lot of black belts, a lot of brown belts. They all kicked their ass there. Is it like that all the time? Is it just big competitors always coming out there? Is it, can you just give us a little glimpse of maybe the environment, the atmosphere there?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a top belt or upper belt heavy, but we still have like our fair share of the lower belts as well. Like me personally, I got my purple belt and my brown belt from Cabrina, and like once I got my purple belt, I was like, oh man, like there are so many purple belts here. I just felt like, I honestly, I was motivated to get another belt because when I got my purple belt, there were so many other purple belts.
What exactly is your training regimen like right now? Like, you're I believe you're full time if I'm not mistaken, but what can you walk us through like a typical week with you, like in terms of your training?
I train twice a day. I do the 12 o'clock and then I do the 8 o'clock in terms of like weekdays. And I'll drill in the morning, maybe do some privates in the morning. And then if I'm lucky, I'll drill at night. And, typical weekday, I'll probably put in about, just 4 hours, 5 hours, 5 or 6 hours. That's about it. And then the weekends, like I'll do the class here and there, and just do some privates. That's about it.
So just going, you know what? Let's talk about your accomplishment at Worlds really quick here, all right? Before we get into some of the training and the regimen that you go through and whatnot. Um, how many matches did you have at Worlds this past, 2 3 weeks ago, whatever it was?
I think I had five.
5 matches. Okay, and yeah. So okay, so you understand why being 36 and winning that is a big deal, right? That's an amazing accomplishment. Well, and see, we all read that little blurb that you had on, I believe it was Gracie Mag. It wasn't a big article, and I was hoping they went more into it with you, just because there's many more questions, as you'll find out, that we want to understand. But in typically what's considered like a really young man's, I'm not saying 36 is old. I'm 36 as well, but I'm saying, but like, and what typically is like usually just young guys in their early 20s are usually winning worlds, especially a purple belt and blue belt and stuff like that. Like, what set you apart from all that? Like, in your opinion, is it just you just train hard? Because you said off air, yeah, I just train hard, but a lot of guys train hard, right? But there's something that sets you above that, like, can you attribute it to anything?
I don't know. I when I was younger, I always used to read like that Solo book, that Jiu-Jitsu University book, um, because I had this random coach, a black belt, Tom Overhue, and he would suggest that book to everyone. And Solo is all about, I don't know if he really plays like this, but he's really about just like what I got out of the book is like pure jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu without strength, and I was just really interested in that, and that's what, it's like, okay, cool, the little guy could beat the big guy, where it's like, it's not, where it's like a game where it's not like strength or, age dependent, so, that like, so if I can just understand the technique or a set of techniques better than someone, then I'll have the upper hand.
And would you say that it has to do anything with? Okay, so we understand the technique, the no strength and whatnot, but still, like the answer is still, I'm still looking for it. Like, what do you think was different? Like, the guys maybe train more than you. They have the advantage of age and whatnot. It's just. Is it truly like just age is just a number with you? Is it like, does that not even get in your head at all? Do you just go in there and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna just beat these 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, and that's that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you purely don't even think about it?
Yeah, I mean, people go up to me in the gym like all the time, and they're like, "Oh, what's up, old man?" This and that, and it's just like, okay, cool. I don't, I don't pay any mind. It's like, I mean. I guess if I didn't win stuff prior, then and I was doing stuff full time all the time, like maybe that would be an issue. If you don't see any results, then like what's the point of doing something? That's like the definition of insanity.
Exactly.
One thing that I find really interesting about competing is like the mental aspect. And the fact that like you are a little bit older, I'm just curious as to like what you like your your mental process and preparation and things like that are going into tournaments?
Oh, like the goal of it's I find jiu-jitsu like a very unfair sport. In terms of like okay, like where it's like one day out of like the whole jiu-jitsu season, like that's the only day that counts. You could go, you win South Bay Open, or you go win. I mean, you could go even win like Pan Ams, and like your motivation is to move up to that next level in jiu-jitsu, get promoted. Like I find it very unfair that way. So it's like I train. My motivation is like I'm training for one day in jiu-jitsu. So you're always constantly reminding yourself like, look, I have to win worlds. I have to win worlds. So it's like you go to Pan Ams, you win or you lose, but like what's the real goal here? It's basically just that Super Bowl day. It's like that one day out of the year that you can actually fail or succeed.
Do you
So that's
train
kind of
in
interesting.
specific? Oh, go ahead, Rami.
Well, it's just kind of interesting because you make it seem like your number one goal in jiu-jitsu is that one day for worlds. So what kind of happens, or like, I don't know, like you're doing pretty well at 36, but what happens when you're like a little older and you just don't feel like you want to compete at worlds anymore, or you just feel like your body's run down a little bit? What becomes your goal in jiu-jitsu, or do you just stop?
Well, I think like the process of jiu-jitsu is just one of just improvement. Like okay, my De La Riva's crap. Like let's make it good, or you want to have that impassable guard. It's not like, oh look, like I actually love jiu-jitsu. So like when I started jiu-jitsu, I wasn't like, oh cool, I'm gonna do even know that existed. And then these goals like came over time as
Right.
as they like presented themselves to me. So that type of thing. But like I don't know, like if I get tired one day,
You
like
mentioned.
look, I'll do something
Oh,
else.
sorry.
Yeah, it's true. It's not like it's the end of the world if you can't, but no, it's interesting to hear.
But you're not necessarily training specifically with those competition goals in mind. You're just training jujitsu and you like to compete and it works out well for you.
Oh no, it's like yeah, if you have like a focus, you have to specifically focus on that. You can't be like, oh, like I show up to the tournament and then maybe I win, maybe I lose. Like you have to like that has to be your goal. Like, you have to go into the gym and then be like, look, I'm gonna win worlds tomorrow. Like if if I don't dwell on it, like, intrinsically, then it'll never manifest itself.
Well, Ram, it is interesting. Like I feel, because I almost feel like whenever you get into a tournament or you're thinking about it, you do kind of have to have that focus in, like thinking about what you want to do, kind of a game plan. Like, do you actually have a game plan set out, or do you just do you kind of like do you always like drill certain moves? Do you have a game that you go into, or that you have planned out before you go into a tournament?
Yeah, I'll have like specific games that I'll play. Um, Usually, I don't play just like a specific one game. I try to play um, all games. Like I have my strengths, but I also am strong. I would say at like every other position. Like if I'm weak in a position, like then I'll try to improve it
So
or
so like
or stay away from it.
So like an example that like I'm kind of curious to hear a little bit more, because it's like for me I almost feel like I have one position, let's say spider guard, that I feel pretty good in, but you throw me into like a deep half position or whatever and I'm completely lost. So does that mean that you're weak, or all your training time is going into developing your main game and making it very strong and like efficient and everything, but ultimately you want to have those other positions covered? Do you have like will you do you kind of have like a few moves you have for each position you can fall into, whether it's half guard, deep half, uh, all these other positions, or is it kind of just training as it comes?
Yeah, like I think just as much as I've trained, I've where you don't know exactly where your game is going to be at like whatever level you are. But I've played every random weird crappy game there is out there, and I would say like for you, you're saying like oh, oh look, I want to be guard and deep half guard to spider guard.
Okay. So not necessarily an actual position or an actual sweep, because I feel like when I do that, I feel like I'm not hitting it 100%. So there's certain moves I can do from, again, I'm going to just use spider guard, but certain moves I can do on spider guard on a lot of people and do them really well. But once I get into half guard, I'm screwed. And then I know like one or two sweeps from there, and then I try them, but they're really bad, and it just ends up even worse from there. So you're saying it's actually better to work on transitions to get back to your strong game?
Yeah, like say you're in a tournament, right, and you're being compromised by someone else's game. Like you have to get back to your strongest game. You can't play. Look, I'm great at butterfly, but it's not necessarily my best game. So.
Right.
So I don't necessarily look. Why do I want to do something that I'm bad at?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, bro. I mean, like, what's the matter with you?
How do you feel about like some of these like trendy moves, like Berimbolo, and like the big one now, I guess I hear a lot about is this worm guard and stuff like that. How do you feel about that stuff?
Oh, I love it.
That's how he wins, man. That's how he was winning.
No, actually, I didn't play any Berimbolo. I didn't play any worm, but like it's just evolution of jiu-jitsu. Like when these things come out, like when Berimbolo came out, like I never used to play it, but like like if you don't understand something, like it comes back to haunt you. Like you have to play like these little random things so you can figure out how to beat them. So you're like, oh look, I play Berimbolo, and when this guy like hits me in the face, it gives me a problem that out. Or when I start doing that to people, like it gives me a problem. So but if you don't, if you just ignore something, it comes back like to haunt you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of agree. Like, I feel like the best way to learn how to defend something is to know how to do it yourself. I mean, especially like as far as like Berimbolo and stuff like that goes, it's if you don't know that in your specific weight class, you're probably gonna have some problems.
Yeah.
Hey, can we just get back? I just want to get back to. Sorry, guys, I had to drop out there. I hope you're not getting any echoing right now.
No, it's
No,
better now.
no.
Okay, good. I'm sorry about that. My mistake. So, anyway, so Ram, again, remember I told you there's a bunch of questions asked you, so I'm just gonna try to fire them off, and as best we can, and hopefully have some answers for it. But do you have a tournament season at all, or are you just always on? Like, yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, tournament season is basically just gi season. I like doing no gi worlds as well, but like I have a hard time motivating myself for like no gi tournaments.
Okay, no problem.
Just whatever gi season is from till after worlds, and then you can take a break, and that's like gi season.
Does your training ever kind of ramp down after Worlds, for example? I know I see a lot of people going on vacation and stuff, or like just kind of not training for the week following. But do you ever have that, or is it always just go nonstop?
I found after I got my purple belt that I actually trained like a lot more, because
Okay.
I'm motivated to do more things.
Okay.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. How many events on average do you do a year? Like, do you stick to the big shows, IBJJF, like for example, Pan Am's, the Worlds? Do you fly out to the Euros at all? Do you keep it
No,
local?
I've never done the Euros. I actually hate traveling. I hate transit. I like living
Fair
places.
enough.
You
Okay.
know, I've lived places for a long time, but transit personally is just so like it's just so like it's taxing on the body. You always get dehydrated.
Okay. All right. No, that's you know what Ram. One thing I'm enjoying about you so far is you're very blunt and to the point. It's very concise and it's refreshing. You know what I mean? It's like I don't like to fly. I get I get dehydrated or whatever. You know.
And you know what? It's a good point. You feel like horrible after a flight.
Yeah, I feel 10 pounds heavier every time I'm on that stupid airplane. Yeah, like I hear you. Sorry, guys, maybe we didn't touch on this before because I kind of dropped out for a couple of minutes. Did we go into any cross training at all with Ram? Do you do any weights? Capoeira is huge. I got Cabrina on Instagram. He does a lot of dancing and stuff like that. And like, you guys, do you do any cross training?
Saturday mornings, Cabrina always does capoeira for a good 15 to 30 minutes, and then but that's I actually did capoeira in college for a little bit. Working out since I started jiu-jitsu. Well, I used to be a personal trainer, but since I started jiu-jitsu, I have worked out for 2 weeks, and that was prior to this world. I worked out for 2 weeks. I did this little circuit that everyone was doing. And Cabrinas told me to do it before, but I kind of, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I kind of just fell off.
He does the
I did 2 weeks of lifting in about 5.5 years of jiu-jitsu.
Wow. It's funny though, because lifting is kind of boring in comparison to jiu-jitsu. Like jiu-jitsu is kind of easy to get motivated for, and then like lifting weights is just like a drag. And that's coming from somebody I used to do it like almost every single day. Like now I can barely do it. I get so bored.
What's the rolling equivalent in lifting?
Well, Cabrina, it's funny. Cabrina does this weird thing where I've seen him do it, where he takes a barbell and he plays spider guard with a barbell. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but he does some very interesting. I would never attempt them because I'll hurt myself. But he does some really entertaining. Look him up, Jordan. You should see. He does some weird things with weights like all the time. But yeah, that's the equivalent. But yeah, I mean, no, you're right. Bench press is not going to replace rolling against a live, opponent, of course. But anyway,
practice back takes on the kitchen chairs and stuff.
you could do, well, some people do that. I've seen pictures of people boloing chairs. I'm not even kidding. Like they put a gi on the chair and they bolo it. Have you seen this, Ram?
Yeah, I don't know. I see everyone doing that. They're playing spider guard on the Spider-Man or something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, man. Some people are
kind of
very,
snatching.
We built a spider guard on just an empty gi.
Yeah, I've seen that too. People, and good on them as creative. So, well, one other question is, about competing again, cutting weight. Do you do any cuts at all? Do you walk around your natural weight at all times?
Usually weigh around like 145. So, and sometimes like really off season, I'll get to like around 150. You have to be 138.
Mm-hmm.
So, but after Blue Belt World, this is a good one or a bad one. I was 138. So I was 138 like the day of Blue Belt Worlds, and so that was like a Friday, I would say. And then Sunday, I was 170.
That's insane.
And I love food like there's no tomorrow. So I would just I bought like at least one. I was at the grocery store and I bought like $100 worth of stuff. Like I would bring like a bag 2 worlds of stuff I was gonna eat like right after I competed.
Eyeing up this bag of food.
So speaking of, all right, sorry, I still don't know how that's even possible. Like, did you IV or something?
No, I had a dozen Einstein bagels like on a Saturday or something like that, and plus the cream cheese, plus a another sandwich. So
Oh,
yeah, I'm
okay.
really just a fat kid trapped in like a jiu-jitsu person who exercises a lot's body.
Well, speaking of diet and whatnot, how about supplements? Are you on any supplements at all? Is it just like protein? Is it nothing? Is it just good eating?
Let's see. No, I take a lot of supplements.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Uh, I could go through them, but it'd be a lot.
Yeah, you know what? Sure, I'd like
But
to hear it.
there's a lot of stuff I like. Basically, you wanna. I mean, I like to stay. Yeah, like turmeric, curcumin. I like krill oil. What else is good? Like I like the natural aspect of everything. I don't. I'm scared of like aspirin, like any over the type counter type of drugs. I stay away from. So I'm just really into like the natural stuff that'll help you out.
Okay, cool.
And injuries. So that ties into injuries. Like training as much as you do, as hard as you do. Have you ever come up with any injuries that have kind of sidelined you? And if so, what do you do to cope with that? Do you just stay away from the gym altogether? Do you show up for the classes anyway?
Oh no! If actually I wasn't gonna do brown belt worlds this year. I went to
Oh,
like a random open mat, and I was just rolling with this big guy. Brown belts. He's another brown belt, and it's like two dogs that have never seen each other before. And I was trying to go chill, and he just like popped my knee, and so I think it was about 2 weeks out, and I popped my knee, and I was like, oh, well, what am I gonna do worlds? Am I not? But I stuck with it, and I put on a brace, and I only trained with it a couple times prior to like I only didn't wear the brace maybe once or twice before doing nogi or before doing brown belt worlds this year. So
wow. And sorry,
yeah,
I missed it. Did you end up going into like when you? Sorry, so that was before Worlds. But have you ever had cases where you were injured, maybe for like a couple months, and you had to sit out? And
I same thing. I did my MCL before, and the once something's like injured, it gets the structure's like off, and then you hit it again, and then it was completely done. And so I stayed out for 2 months, and then I got a MRI, and they said it was fine. I put a brace on it, and then but I stayed away from jiu-jitsu for 2 months. It was tough, but I got to about 170. I got really fat. I was doing jiu-jitsu in the Philippines at that time, and I went to Thailand, and like Thai food's my favorite food, so I
and plus the airplane
hung out
ride
for a while.
made you gain 10 pounds in the airplane ride alone.
Oh
So,
man.
um, so you know what? Seeing that you train at Cabrinas, right? And was probably one of the best schools, arguably probably one of the best in the world, I would say. Um, would you think your success so far, because you've had like an amazing success so far, do you think it's attributed to the environment you train in? I.e., so you're not the best guy there, for example. You've always got guys pushing you. You have a world class instructor. Would you say that plays a huge effect on some of other guys out there who maybe are training as much as you are, but they don't have the opportunity? Maybe they don't live in California. They live in Kentucky. I don't know. I'll just choose them for whatever. Maybe they have an amazing jiu-jitsu program. I don't know. I just chose them randomly, but but yeah, like, do you think that has a lot to do with it? Like, if somebody wants to take it as seriously as you and win worlds at brown belt like yourself, do they need to commit and actually move to a world class school, or can they do it, with what they got, work what they got?
I think that's just that's like scenario where it's like numbers don't lie. You
Hmm.
know, it's like standing on the shoulders of giants. Like, look, Cabrinha won like 4-time, worlds, ADCC, this and that. So like if you're an aspiring like jiu-jitsu player, like you could you could like blaze your own trail, but wouldn't you rather just go to Cabrinas and then become a world champion and just kind of go through the paces that way? I don't, like the places I've been prior, like what were the chances that I was going to be like win like all these tournaments, like if I wasn't in the right environment? Because I've been in the wrong environment, and I mean, I would like I'm not bad, but you have other people who have already been there, so I mean that really answers that.
So basically, my question was a stupid question because, of course, it matters. But you said it in a polite way, and that was and I appreciate that. You're right. The numbers don't lie, man. Like if I see an opponent, it's like from I don't know. Rami, have you faced someone from Cabrina before? You have, right?
Yeah, I faced Jeff Obar before actually.
Oh no, that guy's a terror.
Yeah, he's a monster. I lasted like 3 or 4 minutes with him, and then this was at American Nationals, and then
was that the clock choke?
Yeah, then he swept me, and then swept me past my guard, and then choked me, but choked me with my fingers caught in between, and I couldn't tap, and almost went out. It was great.
But see, what I was getting, so what I was getting as Rami is like when you saw that you're facing someone from Cabrina, you were, and not like an affiliate in like Iceland. You're talking like from the source.
Yeah, well, especially I don't know, because it was really weird, especially coming from Canada. I've never even seen Cabrina, and then he's coaching against me. that was very strange.
Yeah, no, that's quite the example. So anyway, yeah, no, Ram, you're exactly right, man. Like, yeah. Anyway, they scare us, essentially is what we're trying to say. So, Ram, you know what? In the interview, you mentioned the whole thing about Masters. You only do Masters if there's a world title. Sorry, if the word Worlds or something is associated with it. So I guess there's really two big major Masters tournaments. There's the International Worlds, which is held in usually Brazil, and then in October there's the World Masters, which is at the Walter Pyramid there. So you've done those ones, correct?
Yeah, I've just done the ones at the Pyramid, wherever. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So is there a reason, so do you do any other Masters tournaments at all besides those ones? Maybe, I don't know, so that's my question. Do you ever do Masters other than the World Masters?
I did Pans this year, Masters at Brown Belt.
Oh, really?
Okay.
What made you choose that, actually, as opposed to doing the adult division?
Oh, I just didn't want to cut any weight whatsoever. I was kind of in that just lazy mode.
So are you indirectly saying that it's not as much of a challenge? To put you on the spot, because you said you didn't want to cut weight, so meaning you're not feeling optimal. You figure, all right, I'll just do Masters.
Oh, well, no, I'm not saying it's like more chill or anything like that. I'm just saying well, no, there's a division between featherweight, featherweight adult and featherweight Masters for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's probably a bit more prestige in winning the adult division as well.
I feel like that too.
Okay, hey Rob, what's your question? Serious question here. Well, what are your thoughts on? Now we're kind of opening up a little bit here. What are your thoughts on people who say that they're a world champion, but they did it at like Masters 4? Like, serious question. I'm serious.
Oh,
does that bother you at all, or?
No, it doesn't bother me. Like, you have a set of people that you're just as old against, and you beat them. Good job. I don't. It's fine. It's cool.
I think it's crazy how just chilled out you are about you don't give a fuck really.
So yeah, I don't know, kind of what I've been thinking lately is, there's a lot of excess, I really have I have time to do specific things in my life, and you can't get caught up in other people's, BS or your own BS or things that like P view, you know. So I'm
So
really trying to be that at that like in that state of mind right now, where it's like,
so
you
is it
know,
almost? Sorry,
what
go ahead.
serves, you know, like oh, you know, this guy kind of poked me in the eye. I'm gonna fret about it for about a week. No, I'd rather, you know, just keep going on, or you know, like you know, just work towards your goals. Like, what are your goals? Like, I want to make $200 million, right? So how do I accomplish that? By like getting pissed off if this guy like cuts me off in traffic? Like, no, it doesn't serve me. So that's where I am right now.
So it's almost like a very focused approach. Like when somebody, yeah, like even when we're asking you, like, what do you think of people who call themselves these world champions despite winning senior five or whatever it is? It's almost like good for them. That has nothing to do with my personal growth. I don't care. My goal is to win worlds, and that's kind of all you're thinking about.
Well, I'm
So
not,
that's
you
what it
know,
seems like.
I'm not
Or
being
maybe
like,
not all you're thinking about, but
you know, like a lot of people have like goals, and when they like accomplish it, like if you win like, you know, whatever random tournament, like I'm happy for you. You're like accomplishing your goals. So, you know, in terms of like the moniker, like, oh, I specifically want, I'm a world champion, you know, like I won Masters Division 18, you know, I'm like 300 years old. Like, I mean, I mean, are you not a world champion? I mean, like, were you supposed to fight like Bruno Malfacine? Like, you'd get crushed, you know, like for your set of age, like, good job, you know.
So, so Ram, going forward, all right. So you won, like really, you've done the most you can do, I believe. You know, you won worlds, right? So what's some of your plans going forward? I mean, I know you said you told me offline you got your brown belt 6 months ago. So I'm assuming you're still going to be a brown belt for a little bit. Are you going to look at winning worlds again? Is that your next goal as you keep talking throughout the podcast, or is it, you know, to get that black belt?
I think the like day I got into jujitsu, like organized jujitsu, people are like, oh, you know, it takes like 10 years, 14 years to get your black belt. I think that was my main goal in jujitsu. But you know, as like times change, you want different things. So um, it's just a process. Of course, like you know, like winning brown belt worlds is cool, but you know, what's cooler than that?
Black belt worlds,
Mhm.
right? So so is that's what's driving you right now?
I don't usually like to talk about specific stuff like that. You know, like if I have something, I'll usually like I'll keep it inside.
No, that's great. No, that's good. That's it's the mind of a champion, guys. So yeah, with that, man, we're gonna wrap it up. We took almost the hour there, so you know that. Thanks for investing your time with us. Is there any sponsors or anything you'd like to, you know, to shout out right now, or closing comments even?
No, just want to thank some of my sponsors, Rain Kimonos, Omega Kimonos, who else? Thanks, Cabrina, everyone at Team Cabrina, and FitNext. That's about it.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. So once again, everybody, we'll have this edited and on iTunes in all formats available for you probably by Wednesday. That's usually been our goal. So we like to air on Saturday, Sunday, release on Wednesday to all the formats that you've all gotten used to. Once again, I'd like to extend a thank you to Ram Ananda for joining us and putting up with our questions and just showing us, you know, how confident and laser focused this guy is. It's amazing, and we appreciate that. And other than that, Rami, I don't believe you have any other announcements, but yeah, you know what? No, we're not going to announce our next guest just yet because we haven't got a 100% confirmation, but we will post that very soon as well. So once again, thank you very much, and stay tuned.